Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today we're making moussaka. Now, creating moussaka is an amazing experience. This is a traditionally Greek recipe combining tender eggplant with ground beef or lamb paired with a homemade béchamel sauce. This is one truly amazing dish. So, let's get started. So diving right into the recipe, we're going to prepare the base. And for that, we're going to need 5 large eggplants that we're going to first slice off the stalks of each eggplant and then slice those into about 1/2 inch thick rounds. Once that's done, we want to season each slice with a thin sprinkling of salt and allow them to rest for about 30 minutes. The salt's going to help extract some of that liquid that's trapped within each eggplant slice. Similarly, we're also going to need 5 Yukon Gold potatoes that we're going to slice into similar sized rounds. And then you want to transfer those sliced potatoes to a large baking sheet or a cutting board and sprinkle those with a thin layer of salt and black pepper as well. After about 30 minutes, we want to rinse our eggplant slices with water and then squeeze them to remove as much excess water as we can. Then you want to pat them dry and transfer them to a parchment paper lined baking sheet, sprinkling on a thin layer of black pepper on top of the eggplant slices. For some final touches, we also want to add on a drizzle of olive oil to both the eggplants as well as our sliced gold potatoes, and then place both of those trays into the oven. We're going to bake these both at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. And after that time is up, we want to set them aside. And while those are baking, we can prepare the meat sauce for the moussaka. Here we want to heat a large pot over medium-high heat or 375 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. We're going to add in about 1/4 cup's worth of olive oil, as well as 2 red onions that have been diced, and saute those for about 4 to 5 minutes or until the onions have softened. Now we're going to add in about 2 pounds worth of either ground lamb or ground beef into the pot, as well as a thin sprinkling of salt and black pepper, and break the meat into smaller pieces as it cooks. Once the meat is all browned, we want to add in 2 cloves of garlic that's been minced, as well as 2 tablespoons worth of tomato paste. Mixing those ingredients together, we want to continue to saute this for about 1 to 2 minutes or until the garlic has softened. Now you want to add in 8 ounces or 1 cup of red wine, preferably a Cabernet Sauvignon, to deglaze the pot and allow this to cook until it evaporates. And once it has, now you want to add in 14-ounce cans worth of fire roasted diced tomatoes, followed by 1 teaspoon of sugar, a pinch of sea salt, a pinch of freshly ground black pepper, a pinch of cinnamon, as well as 1 bay leaf. Stir these ingredients together and then bring the entire pot to a boil. Once it's at the boiling phase, we want to reduce the heat to low or 225 degrees Fahrenheit or 170 degrees Celsius and simmer the pot for about 30 minutes or until most of the juices are all gone. You want to taste test this and season it with additional salt and black pepper as needed. Once it's to your liking, you can set this aside. Now we're also going to prepare the bechamel sauce. So in a large frying pan, you want to melt 1/2 cup's worth of unsalted butter into the pan, set over a medium-low heat or 249 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius. Once the butter is melted, you also want to add in 1 cup's worth of all-purpose flour, slowly whisking it constantly to create a paste between the butter and the flour. And once you have the texture like this, you want to slowly add in about 3 3/4 cups worth of whole milk that's been warmed, constantly whisking this to prevent it from lumping up. The final consistency should resemble somewhat of a thick cream. You may need to allow this to boil over a low heat to ensure that you get a consistency like the one you see in the video. Once it looks like this, we want to remove the pan from the heat, and then you want to stir in 2 large egg yolks. And once those are stirred in, you also want to add in a strong pinch of salt, a pinch of black pepper, a pinch of nutmeg, as well as 3/4 cups worth of Parmigiano cheese. Make sure to stir this quickly to prevent the eggs from cooking. Once you add those ingredients in, you want to taste and season the sauce with salt to your own personal taste. Now we're ready to assemble the moussaka. Here we're going to butter the sides and the bottom of an 11 by 16 inch deep baking dish, as well as preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. Once the pan has been buttered, layer the golden potato slices as the bottom layer, and then we're going to follow that with half of our sliced eggplants placed on top of those. Once you have both of those layers of the vegetables done, we want to pour in all of our meat sauce and then spread that evenly over that base. For the next layer, we're going to add a second layer of eggplant slices, and then we're going to top the dish with all of our bechamel sauce, spreading it smoothly over the top using an offset spatula. For some final touches, we want to sprinkle on the remaining 1/4 cup of Parmigiano cheese for this recipe and a thin sprinkling of black pepper on top of the bechamel sauce. We're going to bake this dish for about 55 to 60 minutes or until the top crust has turned a light golden brown. Once it's reached this state, we want to remove it from the oven and allow this to cool down to allow the bechamel sauce to firm up before slicing. And with that, this is ready to be sliced, served, and enjoyed. Congrats, you've just made moussaka right at home. A key thing I want to point out is that eggplant can be bitter, so it's really important to prepare them properly as I showed you in the beginning steps of this recipe. So you always want to add that salt to extract that bitterness out of the slices. That step really makes or breaks this dish. But as you can see, this makes a ton of food. You can create slices as big or as small as you'd like. I can't wait for you guys to try this at home yourselves, and when you do, be sure to tag me at Chef Vic Cuisine or hashtag Chef Vic Cuisine so I can see your great takes on this dish. As always, this recipe and many more can be found in my cookbook, Chef Vic Cuisine Volume 4, Enhancing Your Inner Chef. And that's available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that in my description box. And feel free to click the pop-up on your screen for more information on that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed learning how to make moussaka, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button. It's one of the best ways to show support for the channel. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button too to see more recipes just like this one. And sharing is caring, so if you enjoyed this recipe and think someone else will too, feel free to share this with all your family and friends. And stay tuned for next week where I show you the first recipe from Volume 5 of my cookbook series, my cream cheese filled bagel bites. These are a great option for breakfast or brunch or even as a go-to snack. Well, thanks again for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. You can always check out more recipes on my page now. YouTube thinks you'll like these videos, so let's see if they're right. And I'll catch you next time on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.